Oil is undoubtedly one of the world's greatest influencers today. Ever since the application of petroleum in day-to-day life, the world has been hooked. Along with other fossil fuels, the world today has transformed quickly from agricultural societies to urbanized metropolises. With this change, the growing energy market was created to supply the world with energy. Some of the biggest corporations involved in the energy market is British Petroleum, or BP, and Chevron. This video will examine these two corporations in different aspects like its history, products, integration, some statistics, and its public image. We shall start with BP. The founding of BP can be attributed to one man by the name of William Knox Darcy. He, despite many difficulties along the way, prospected and struck oil in Iran. From then on, British Petroleum started as a subsidiary of Burma Oil Company and was named the Anglo-Persian Oil Company during the early 20th century. Later on in 1935, the company was renamed the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. 19 years later, the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company became British Petroleum in 1954. BP was born in Persia, nowadays Iran, but its operations in the country ended with the Islamic Revolution. However, BP has expanded its operations worldwide, and since its humble beginnings, has grown to become a true multinational corporation. BP's main product is petrol, which is derived from the hydrocarbons BP extracts. Oil is an inelastic good, which means that its quantity demanded is not very responsive to price changes. The quantity demanded for oil will remain relatively constant despite price fluctuations. It is also an inelastic good as it has very few closely related substitutes that are cheap, and currently it is a necessity. British Petroleum is active in over 100 countries worldwide and operates in 6 of the 7 continents. British Petroleum mostly targets the average consumer with its petrol retail stores worldwide. Other than petrol, BP sells complementary goods like car lubricants and motor oil. Aside from selling oil-related products, BP is involved in harnessing renewable energy as a response to the growing need for clean energy. BP in certain countries sells solar panels and invests in wind farms and other sustainable sources of energy. Horizontal integration is a situation where a company merges or buys out other companies within the same market. An example of BP horizontal integration was when BP merged with Amoco in 1998. BP has 3 main subsidiaries. Castrol, which was acquired in 2000, produces car lubricants. Aral sells fuel in Germany and was bought when BP Germany took over BP Oil in 2002. And Arco, which sells gas in the US West Coast, was bought in 2000. BP, being the parent company, has given the 3 subsidiaries the right to retain their own brand name. BP is involved in vertical integration, which is when a company is involved in manufacturing all the way through to retail, from the extraction of hydrocarbons from the land and sea to the selling of petrol in retail stores. BP's labor force has shrunk in recent years. From 98,000 in 2007, it has dwindled to just over 80,000 in 2009. This can be attributed to the poor economic climate of 2009. In 2009, a recession occurred, which affected the revenues of BP as consumers become more conservative in where they spend their money. The decrease in consumer spending on petrol and other products BP retailed lowered BP's profits, and therefore the multinational corporation had to lay off thousands of employees to maximize profits. Oil prices also dropped from its peak at 2008, which lowered BP's income. As for the revenue of BP, there is no clear trend. The price of oil per barrel reached its peak in 2008 because of growing demand in India and China, and concerns over an oil shortage. The high price of oil led to BP to reap large profits, as price elasticity of demand for oil is inelastic. In 2008, the revenue was around $365 billion. However, in 2009, BP's revenue dropped significantly. This is because of oil price declining and the recession. The recession forced countries to lower oil consumption, and consumers should spend less. As prices fall, income decreases. According to British Petroleum, BP is an innovative energy corporation. It adopted the slogan "Beyond Petroleum" to reflect their interests in other fields aside from oil. Its logo is a helios, otherwise known as a sun. To reflect a potentially great source of energy, the shape of the logo is a flower, which symbolizes nature's ability to harness renewable energy. Its public image has been hampered by the fiasco that occurred in the oil rig off the coast of Mexico. Since then, BP has been portrayed as a corporation which neglects safety and lacks an environmental conscience. We shall now look at Chevron. Chevron came out of the breakup of John Rockefeller's Standard Oil. The breakup resulted in many smaller independent privately owned corporations. One of these companies was Standard Oil of California, which is the oldest form of Chevron. Standard Oil of California, or abbreviated to SoCal, quickly became a multinational corporation when it traveled around the world to prospect for oil, most notably in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The multinational corporation became one of the first to drill for oil in the oil-rich Middle East. They dropped the SoCal moniker in 1977 to opt for the Chevron name to create a global brand. Like BP, Chevron is mostly into the gasoline market for consumers. However, it is not just hydrocarbons that Chevron sells. They are involved in coal, geothermal, and solar energy. Chevron operates in 28 countries across the globe and in 6 continents. Outside of oil and energy, Chevron sells motor oil, lubricant, and car care products in its retail stores. Chevron supplies gasoline to the average consumer in countries they operate in. For example, Caltex, which is a subsidiary of Chevron, sells petrol to consumers in the Philippines and in Australia. They extract oil from mostly OPEC member states like Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. Chevron is involved in both horizontal and vertical integration. Horizontal integration is a situation where a corporation would merge with another firm within the same stage of production. One example of horizontal integration was in 1984 when it merged with Gulf Oil. Another example was in 2001 where the firms Texaco and Chevron merged. One other example was with Unocal in 2005. Texaco is now a subsidiary of Chevron and markets gas and car care products. Caltex is also a subsidiary of Chevron. Caltex, like Texaco, retails petrol and car products, but in the Asia-Pacific region, Africa, and the Middle East. Chevron is involved in the extraction of raw materials all the way through to retailing the finished product. Therefore, it is a vertically integrated corporation. From 2005 to 2008, the labor force of Chevron steadily increased. 2008 was profitable for oil companies as the price of oil increased to its peak, which led Chevron to make more money than before. With more money, the firm chose to hire more people to become more productive. However, in 2009, Chevron's labor force decreased by more than 1,712 workers. This was so because the recession forced oil consumption to decrease by motorists, and the price of oil to decrease, which led to lower profits. Low profits forced the company to fire employees to maximize profits. The revenue of Chevron has been increasing from 2005 to 2008. This can be explained by the high oil prices in 2008, which positively influenced Chevron. Since oil is inelastic, a price increase gives producers more revenue. In 2009, the poor economic climate and falls in oil prices decreased Chevron's revenue. Chevron uses the logo Human Energy to describe the company. It has branded itself as a firm committed to the environment and to people through advertisements. However, Chevron is not free from criticism. Chevron's latest ad campaign, entitled We Agree, has been the subject of numerous hoaxes by environmental groups. The Rainforest Action Network, along with the pranksters the Yes Men, has created an elaborate hoax of Chevron aimed at showing the company's hidden side. They have raised awareness for the ongoing Ecuadorian lawsuit, which has given the firm bad press. So bad that they had to counteract the media pressure with a page on their website with their side of the story. Chevron and BP have a lot of things in common. Only differing in size and scale, the two institutions have enormous power financially. Due to the power of oil, the two firms are one of the largest companies in the world today, and will continue to be so as long as the world is addicted to oil.